Fisker Mamacharchin. Welcome to the next part of my adventures learning Gaelic on Duolingo. So for this video, we're going to go through the family lessons. Just before I do, I just want to check, see if there is any new grammar notes. Did we look at the ones for clothes? Let me just have a look and see. Oh, right, yes. So we've got some new one. Oh dear, I'm in the dead motion zone. Oh, better get my arse in gear and get that on it. So now, I can't remember if we've done these. I don't think we have. Right. So let's go through these notes first. So shoes on me, pants on you, orm and orscht. So remember the prepositional pronouns lem and let, with you, with me. Remember how fun that was? Good times, those were the days. This skill introduces 2 new prepositional pronouns to conquer. They're really useful for describing what you are or aren't wearing, as well as having loads of other uses. So I've been talking about prepositional pronouns in previous videos, so this is another one. Orm, on me. This is a combination of the words meaning on, and me, meaning me or I. Although in English we might say on me, in Gaelic we must combine these 2 words in one mighty super word. Ha drahish aram, I have pants on, or underpants on. Chanel lenya aram, I don't have a shirt on. If you've been doing the clothes lessons a lot, these things come a lot. They've seem to have an obsession with having pants and not having pants on. Orscht is on you. It's a combination of meaning on, and u, meaning you. There's also another word we use to show respect when talking to the book. Probably best to begin with telling one person what they're wearing before moving on to crowds. So there's another one. Hadrahish orscht. You have pants on. Chanel lenya orscht. You don't have a shirt on. Verbal nouns. So, is it a verb? Is it a noun? It's sort of both, and it's super useful. This is the first time we come across a verbal noun in this course. These are similar to ing words. So what some might call the present participle, or I think they call it the gerund or the gerund, or however you pronounce it, gerund in English. This is a common way of forming the present tense in Gaelic. If you can use one verbal noun, you've got this, then you can use any of them. What the hell's going on out there? Don't know if you can hear, there's just really loud noises coming from my out in the close. I think it's just somebody moving something. So verbal noun 1, agiri is to be wanting. Hami agiri failure, I'm wanting a kilt. Hami agiri iron brew. Hami agiri tagish, I'm wanting haggis. And I also notice sometimes that if you just write I want, I think it means this. I want whenever I put I want a kilt, it marks me correct. So I think hami agiri just means I want or I am wanting. And here's another one. A kianach. Hami a kianach failure, I'm buying a kilt. Hami a kianach iron brew, I'm buying iron brew. Hami a kianach tagish, I'm buying haggis. This pattern repeats with almost all verbal nouns. Once you know one, it's just a case of learning new ones. So, I am wanted. So those of you from outside of Scotland may find these structures a little strange, but they more accurately reflect what is going on in the Gaelic than I want a kilt. This type of structure is actually pretty common in Scotland, possibly in part due to the influence of Gaelic. Phrasing it in this way will really help us to teach the difference between things that are happening more immediately, I am wanting, and things that happen regularly as a matter of habit as the course progresses, I want. So it's just getting you used to to the what they'd call the present continuous tense, like this one, I am happening more immediately. And failure, kilt. A kilt is a piece of cloth and so much more, traditionally worn by men as part of the Scottish Highland dress. They're also worn by women and children. Each family or clan has their own tartan or several. Underpants are optional. Ha failure orm, chanil drahish orm. I have a kilt on, but I don't have underpants on. Congratulations, you've just learned it out, people, if you're wearing clothes or not. Okay. So, kind of makes sense why they keep talking about the not wearing underpants. Let's see if there's any notes to go with the other, because I've missed the... There was no notes in some of these other lessons when we were... Here we are. Agam is another prepositional pronoun, consists of ag, at, and me. It would be wrong to say ag me. We have to combine the two words into a superword. This is another prepositional pronoun. We don't have a verb like have in Gaelic, totally unnecessary, honest, but we can use combinations of ag to show possession. Ha peta agam, I have a pet, literally means there's a pet at me. Ha ku agam, I have a dog, literally there is a dog at me. Yeah, I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, the strange way that Gaelic shows possession with saying things are at you, and this is just a lesson explaining it. Agad is a combination of ag and who, you, so ha pet agad, you have a pet. Ha iron brew agad, you have iron brew. We can use lots more combinations of egg to show what we have and don't have. And here's another lesson about lenition or lenation. I've never found out. I think it's lenition. Anyway, not important. So lenition, adding an H after the first consonant, is part of what makes Gaelic so funky and bloody difficult. The word gley causes lenition in the adjective that follows whenever possible. So here, for example, gley and beg, for very small, is gley veg. And here's very good, gley plus ma is gleva. And you can't learn out a vowel, just try it, it's impossible. Gley plus og is just still gley og, very young. And here's another one about verbal nouns. Is it a verb, is it a noun? Sort of both, and we've come across this. Here's another one. A fachkin, to be seeing. Ha mi a fachkin cat, I'm seeing a cat. Ha mi a fachkin much, I'm seeing a pig, or I see a pig. See notes on close one to see why we use I am seeing and not I see. And here's another one, a clonchin. Ha mi a clonchin cat, I'm hearing a cat. Ha mi a clonchin tunag, I'm hearing a duck. This pattern repeats with almost all verbal nouns. Once you know one, it's just a case of learning. Right, so right. So remember when we first came across the word for spider, I was wondering what the hell it translated as. So here we are. Here is this. So davanali. This is the Gaelic for spider, and literally means fierce little stag. Another much less common word for spider is pokasaline, which means bag of salt. Okay. Currently, the audio for davanali doesn't work when the word appears on one tile due to the way the software reads the hyphen. It is read as normal in the recorded sentences. So there we go. That's the explanation of the word for spider, davanali, or a bag of salt, pog salin. Right, let's see if there's any one for weather. So, the weather is frequently awful, yes. Today being no exception. Well, it's mid-December, very cloudy and cold. So Scotland, one of the most beautiful countries in the world, to balance it out, is afflicted with some interesting weather. Interesting is a good word to use. This is often a hot topic in Gaelic conversation, and this skill would teach you how to describe rain, snow, wind, and also the word for sunny, in case you might happen to be using your Gaelic abroad. It's not that bus, just remember a jacket. Shacket. The most simple way to describe the weather is to use ha plus e plus whatever the weather is. So ha I fuair, it's cold. Ha I fliuch, it's wet. And chanil I bla, it's weather. So the word for weather, shige, is feminine in Gaelic, and so we teach the personal pronoun e, not e. The word for day in Gaelic is laha, is masculine, so you can also see e used in place of e. Phrases like ha I fuair are certainly more common than ha e fuair, but neither is wrong and both would be understood. Okay. So, shige versus amshir. I don't think we've come across this word amshir in the lessons. I'll maybe look back over my weather video and see if that came up. Anyway, so two words for weather in Gaelic: shige and amshir. Amshir, I don't know. Both are common, both are feminine, both are equally easy to use. We have stuck with shige as at the moment so as not to overload your burgeoning Gaelic brains. Conversation Starters 101. Choris aha an shide coltach. This is how you ask what the weather is like in Gaelic. Moaning about the weather is like catnip for Scottish people. This is your in. That doesn't make sense. I think this is your way in. I think. Anyway, this is probably the longest phrase you've come across so far. Don't worry about its constituent parts at this stage. Just think of it as a set phrase to remember. Cut yourself some slack if you muddle it up. It's very useful, so it's worth tackling. It's also very fun to say. You can also say kimar aha and shida. This is not wrong, but it's a lot less idiomatic and not nearly as common in everyday speech. That's literally how is the weather. So, it's said not to analyse the constituent parts of that, so we'll not do that. Taking B to the next level, avel. So this is the question form of B. So when you want to say is it or isn't it, ha I fuair, it's cold. Chanil fuair, is it cold? And then avel fuair, avel I fuair, is it cold? And then to say yes, you just respond with ha, and to say no, you just respond with chanil. So this might be something that comes up in a future note, but there isn't really a word for yes or no in Gaelic. You just agree with whatever's being said in this case, by repeating the verb or for no chanil. There probably is some ways to say no if another verb is involved, but stick with chanil and I'm sure you'll be understood. So taking B to the next level, after the next level, nachel. This is the negative interrogative form of B, so that's when you want to say isn't it, or aren't you, or whatever. I like to think of it as a question with an attitude. With most of these questions, you'd expect the answer to be yes, as they aren't really genuine requests for information. Nach il I fuair, isn't it cold? Nach il Ian donna, isn't Ian bad? Also great for starting conversations about the weather or how terrible Ian is. I do like the humour that they've put into these notes and to these lessons, but it's a good way because it helps you remember some of the things that they teach you, and they do that with a lot of the other languages. Teach you just really, really bizarre sentences and stuff like that. I've talked about that. I do stand-up comedy, and I talk about that a lot in the shows, how they make you translate strange sentences. But anyway, next one. On. We've come across another structure that at first glance looks a little more complicated, using the preposition on, not an. On is quite open-ended, but we use it to indicate that something is present. It's very common when we are discussing the weather. It can mean present here or there, depending on the context. Ha rocha on, there is frost. Ha jalanach on, there is lightning. This structure can be used for much more than just the weather, though. There's one. Ha Shoris on, George is here. Ha cat on, a cat is here. Practice makes perfect here. You will see this combination used a lot in Gaelic. And as you've come across them, there's two ways of saying now, andrasta and anish. Andrasta, just now, as in right at this moment, implies that the situation could change. And anish is a more generalised now, could also mean nowadays. So here's an example. Ha Ian snog anish. Ian is nice now, but ha Ian alndrasta, Ian is here just now. And guma is a really useful adverb that can be used in a few different ways. We've seen it used to indicate that someone is well. Ha mi guma, I am well. We can also use it in combination with an adjective to change its meaning in a couple of ways. Context is a real Context in a real conversation will indicate which translation is meant, but we accept both translations in the course. So guma as quite, as in a little or a wee bit. Ha I guma scoach, it's quite cloudy. Ha I guma blah, it's quite warm. And here's another meaning. Guma as in really, as in very or significantly. Ha I guma goch, it's really windy. Ha I guma grianach, it's really sunny. Verbal nouns. We're coming across another couple of verbal nouns. See the closed ones for the action. So here's another one. Afarachten. Afarachten. Still trying to learn how to pronounce that properly. So afarachten. Ha mi afarachten ski. I am feeling cold. Ha mi afarachten voer. I'm feeling cold. And see the closed one section to read why we use I am feeling and not I feel. So, certain exercise in this course involve tiles often rendering words like afarachten as a separate one and farachten as another separate tile. This is due to how the code reads the apostrophe and is a problem shared with other courses. Duolingo staff are working to it. The correct form is with an apostrophe. The correct form with an apostrophe should always appear first, but please bear this in mind when a tile change appears. So just remember to put apostrophe after a if you're using a verbal noun. Right. I might just leave this video as going over the notes that we've just come across, and then do the family one in a separate video. And let's see if there's notes for. Yeah, here's notes for phrases. Obviously, as I said, with this course being in its beta just now, so they're still adding stuff to it, and so this is why the notes have come in a lot later than when the course started. So it might be a case that I do more videos that catching up on the notes before I do the lessons again. But anyway, let's do the next set of notes. Slancheva, cheers. Slanche is a Gaelic word for health, and this is a common way to give a toast. So if you're out for a drink, just say Slancheva. Slanche is a feminine word, so it lenites to the adjective that follows when possible. Here we are, slanchava, slancha plus ma, slanchava, good health. Acharjin. So this is a great way to address a group of people. The Gaelic word for friend is... Oh, right. The Gaelic word for friend is carajin, but this changes to acharjin in the vocative case, the form you use to address people or things. Okay. Is Sheena Runrig, Gaelic supers. So, if you ever wonder why Runrig keep popping up, here's the notes. Runrig is now a retired band, formerly formed in the Isle of Skye in the 70s. They are popular both in Scotland and overseas. Many people have learned Gaelic, having first experienced the language through lyrics of Runrig. Yeah, they quite famously sing a few songs in Gaelic. A couple of good ones to listen out for is one called Alaba, that's just singing about Scotland. And there's one was big in the mid-90s called An Ual Asarja, literally the highest apple. It was famous in the mid-90s because it was used in an advert for something. I can't remember, I think it was some kind of beer. But yeah, check it out. An Ual Asarja and Alaba, a good couple of Runrig songs. So, Is Sheena is we are. Is Sheena Runrig. We are Runrig. Sheena is the emphatic form of sheen, we, us. Right, here we go. So this is a proper another lesson about how to differentiate singular, informal singular versus polite / plural. So we've already distinguished this distinction between u and shiv and let and leive. The phrases taught in this skill are designed to give you things you can use from the very start. Don't worry about breaking them down into their individual parts at this stage. One thing to keep an eye on in this distinction between the informal singular that occurs in this skill is she do veha, you're welcome. This is what you say to someone. This is say to someone of a similar age or younger. So that's the informal. Think of it as the u form. And there's she beha. You're welcome. That's to more than one person, or to some the polite form, the shiv form. And here's another couple of examples of J and Tinum a horse. What is your name? Just for the informal, and J and Tinum Harav is the plural or polite form. And Orst and Arav, you've come across them in the clothes section. It's another prepositional pronoun. Literally means at you here. So that I know it said not to break it down, but this one literally means what name is at you, or what name is on you. Sorry, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. It is on. So what name is on you? Sorry, just ignore what I said about at. That's egg. Anyway, I'll shut up now. So this is an J Hadal. What's going on? What's happening? Whatever. This is an extremely common phrase. Common response is Chanel Moran, which is not much. And bye. Some ways of saying goodbye. A very informal way to say goodbye in Gaelic is cheery. That's bye, cheerio. Or cheery and drasta. Bye for now, cheerio just now. There are more formal ways to say goodbye in Gaelic. Marsh and let, goodbye to someone, just to one person, or the informal form. And marsh and leave, goodbye, when you're the plural or polite form. This phrase originated as a response to Bianach Lev, literally means blessing with you. Martian Let and Martian Leiv were traditionally have only been used as a response to a goodbye and translate you with you also. The distinction is no longer strictly observed in modern Gaelic, and both Marsin Leibh and Beannacht Leibh can be used to say goodbye, regardless of who initiated. So there we go. So ways of taking your leave. So let's go and see if there's any more notes for numbers. There should be some good notes with numbers here. So N is 1 and it causes lenition. So the numbers 1 and 2 in Gaelic cause lenition on the nouns that follows wherever possible. So N plus bata, which is boat. N vata is a boat. And here's another one. N pishag is an fishak. And then da, also causes lenition and for some bizarre reason is singular. Gaelic used to maintain quite a distinct dual form when referring to two things only. This is broken down in many ways, but it's still important to know that two things in Gaelic are not regarded as plural. Don't know why. Anyway, da, two, like un, also causes lenition on the noun that follows. So da bata is da vata, 2 boats, and another one, da plus pishak is da fishak, 2 kittens. So plurals begin with the number 3 in Gaelic. Here's some plurals. 3 batachin, ceher batachin, cog pishakin. 3 and 4 boats and 5 kittens. Kaved, how much, how many. This is how we ask how many in Gaelic. Unlike English, when we ask this in Gaelic, we use the singular form of the noun. So, kaved, so bata, boats, batachin, boats, and kaved bata, how many boats. A common alternative to kaved is koved, which means the same thing, occurs later on in the course. That was pretty easy. Count yourselves lucky. Hamidullah. Oh, terrible jokes. Leave that to me. Right. If there's any notes with family, yep, there's some notes with family. So actually, I'll leave that for the video when we actually do family. So I'm just going to finish this video here. So we've caught up with more grammar notes. Oh yeah, I need to replenish them because they're broken. But then next video we'll do the grammar notes that come with family, and then we'll discuss family. So in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again soon when we discuss the family. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.